Hey, I'm Cliff. Welcome to the Culture Law Podcast. Welcome to Washington Law. This podcast is separate from my role as an attorney. However, it is my job to educate, entertain, and teach, and to put in a context for you. And today, we're going over PONZI schemes, specifically a couple that are the big ones in the news lately. And so, yeah, let's just get into it. First, we've got Harry Markopoulos. I hope that's how you say his name. It kind of looks like Marco Polo's if you look at the last name. But anyways, okay. Terrible joke. He's a financial advisor, and his bosses say, we have this guy in the financial industry named Bernie Madoff, and Bernie is unbelievable. And we need you, our guy, our financial advisor, our math guy, to come up with a product that rivals Bernie Madoff. Click the like button if you get a minute. It's really important to the YouTube algorithm and getting more people to watch the channel and videos like this. And I really appreciate it. And he says, okay, you got it. So he goes back to his computers. He's like, wow, this guy's amazing. Look at all these great numbers he's producing. And you know what happens? This guy says, no, there's no way. You cannot be done. You cannot create these types of numbers. He has to be doing something illegitimate. The returns are impossible. He's literally out of the market when the market goes down. He's in the market every time the market goes up. Nobody's that good. Perfect timing doesn't exist. So he's got two options. He's either got to join Bernie Madoff, or he's got to make Bernie play by the rules, because there's no way he's going to be able to compete with Bernie Madoff. It's just not mathematically possible. So everybody knows what he decided. He went for option number 2. He decides that he's going to get the SEC to make Bernie play by the rules, or at least explain how he's coming up with these incredible returns. And then the SEC goes in and says, nope, we didn't find anything. He is doing some unregulated trading and all that, so we're going to make him sign up to be a financial advisor, and he's ready to continue on doing what Bernie does, which is taking money from investors and giving them incredible returns. And so what he could not know, and what we know now, is what I'm going to try to explain here in a second in the most basic of terms. Now, the thing with Bernie that was absolutely unheard of and really kind of unprecedented was that this PONZI had no legitimate business, zero legitimate business going on. Most of the time in a PONZI scheme, there will be some form of legitimate investing. There will be currency, maybe gold, commodities, maybe real estate. I wish there was a dang back button on this thing. Yeah, there usually is. Not in the Bernie Madoff situation. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's the surprising thing. So the entire PONZI was just here in this bank account, which was in a JP Morgan Chase bank account. The whole thing. None of it was going to actual legitimate investing like all the investors had predicted and had actually asked for when they signed up for it. In Bernie Madoff's case, 4 big fish investors. Okay, these are big fish investors, or they're billionaires, and they're going to be taking their money, and they're going to also be taking their money periodically and putting it in. Now, one of these guys, his name was Pickhour, and Pickhour had a special relationship with Bernie Madoff in the fact that Bernie thought that he knew that this was a PONZI scheme. So when this PONZI scheme started to shrink down, he would go back to these investors. It sounds like Pickhour on more than a handful of occasions or whatever it was, would really keep this going and keep pushing money in. And then when the PONZI scheme had some more steam, they would take the money out. That's what the allegation was. We'll never know because he passed away after this all kind of blew up. Now let's get into 2022, and we've got a new alleged PONZI scheme. And this one is going to be the SBF PONZI scheme. We have a bunch of investors, right? Investors. They turn into former investors, right? And then typically what happens in the PONZI scheme is these former investors, they're going to want money. And these investors are going to pay for these investors. Sam Bankman-Fried, from what it looks like or what's been alleged, is 1, a maybe illegitimate purpose, and then 2, a legitimate purpose. Now, the legitimate purpose is crypto, which is also kind of confusing because crypto is very risky. But that's where everybody had thought their money was. And what was actually going on was essentially he's putting it in FTX token. He's also doing lending, able to give you much higher returns, but many times at a much higher risk. And then I think another thing is this market making, which he had talked about. So all of these things, which were maybe not legitimate business for business purposes, because the investors thought that it was going into what the business was, which was a crypto brokerage, but it was actually going to these. Just like in Bernie Madoff's case, where you have the big four and you run into an issue with the big four where they can't keep the Ponzi going. Sam Bankman-Fried's case, market making, FTX token, which, as we all know, exploded. Oh, and lending. So if any of these go under, right? If those start going under, then that is going to affect the Ponzi scheme. And there you go. And then it wraps up and everybody is left holding the bag. They're going to find out how this all shakes out in court. And we'll see how it rock and rolls. We've already had a couple people plead guilty from what it sounds like, and you're cooperating. But I think there will be more to come. So we'll be there. We'll be in there in the trials watching this if it comes down the pipe. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Later.